Okay, welcome back to the Brass Monkey podcast, where we chat with some of the most iconic, the most exciting artists to grace our stage here down in the Shire. I'm your host, Adam Simon from Crowdcast, and today I am absolutely thrilled to be joined by the powerhouse performer himself, Adam Thompson, frontman at the legendary Australian rock band Chocolate Starfish. And guys, they're bringing something very special to the Brass Monkey Saturday, 15th of November. It's called Raw Fish. It's an intimate reimagining of their biggest hits, featuring the formidable talents of not only Adam, but also Norman Falvo on piano and Darren Danielson on percussion. This is Chocolate Starfish, stripped back, raw, and rhythmic, and I can't wait to dive into it. So, Adam, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thanks, Ads. It's good to be here, and we're really looking forward to bringing the Raw Fish experience to the Shire.
When did the idea for Raw Fish come about? What inspired the stripped back concept, and why now?
Funny, it's one of those things that's been around forever. We actually started this way back many years ago. I told stories during the night as well about, all the different songs and how they came to be, and even this particular style. So we used to play this little wine bar in Melbourne back in even before Chocolate Starfish started, and normally just play this old upright grand piano that was in the corner of this bar, and slightly out of tune, just that real authentic bar room kind of a sound. And we sort of cut our teeth and experiment on that, really interactive, semi-cabaret, emotional connection with a crowd that was so close to you. And now that Chocolate Starfish are, luckily doing some major festivals and tours, we haven't had a chance to get back to this mode for forever. And we just thought, look, we don't get a chance to do so many of these songs and in this style, when we're doing something like the Red Hot Summer Tour or the Monday Batch. We just don't get a chance to do this anymore. And we thought this is just a great way for 3 out of the 5 members of the band to come together and just play to 150, 200 people a night and really listen to the songs and the style that kicked us off.
How's that going to be for you? Because you're such an enigmatic and charismatic frontman of this band, and your colleagues are as well. How's that going to be for you to take that high energy, that theatrical performance, and move it into that more intimate setting?
Look, it's worked really well, and the Brass Monkey show is going to be our 5th, I think. We've done the last 2 weekends, and the energy is not lacking at all. In fact, it's just reimagined, reshaped. So whereas the rock and roll energy of an electric guitar and a bass and a full-on power drum kit creates that rock and roll energy, this energy is created by, literally standing on a table where people are having dinner. And I do that, all right? Or it's, at the end of the night, we have literally everybody in the room, arm in arm singing You're So Vain or Mountain or whatever it is together and jumping up and down as if they were at a rock concert, but with a stripped down instrumentation, but the feeling is the same. And, I get to be closer to people than, I've ever been in 30 years. And that's where a different energy happens. And also you're able to deliver a song, for example, at a table where people are right there, and when you're singing something like Four Letter Word, for example, they're beating on their table with their cutlery or their mobile phones to create that sort of energy. So it's just reframed into a tighter environment, but it's not lost.
You said the word feeling there, and I think Mountain especially is such an emotional song. It just grabs you from the start, and it can take you on a whole roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
I would imagine that, especially types of songs like that, which are so intimate and personal, are perfectly suited for this type of environment, aren't they?
Look, it absolutely is. And there's another song that we've been doing on this tour called Cinderella, which I wrote for this young New South Wales girl who has unfortunately passed away now. But I was just scrolling through socials one day and this girl said she was having this Cinderella ball and to try and raise money for MND and for a cure for herself. And it was just ironic how the universe throws stuff at you, because the day before that, I was thinking about penning a song called Cinderella, but in an entirely different way. And all of a sudden, she became Cinderella. And not only did they use that song at the ball, and we donated any proceeds from the song to her, but they also, and this is always hard to talk about in the night, they also used it at her funeral as well. And there's been an incredible amount of emotion that's delivered from that song. And in fact, I always talk about when we released it, people at gigs used to take one shoe off and hold it in the air in tribute to the Cinderella. And we've started doing that again. And my God, it's really powerful. And those are the sort of moments that you don't get those at a big concert, and you don't get to tell that story, and you don't get that emotional connection with people. But man, it'll be there at the Brass Monkey, I'll tell you.
You've got Norman there and Darren as well, and not the full band, obviously, the small instrument strip back model. You feel a little bit more vulnerable, a bit more exposed in this format, or because you've done it before, is it something that you'd like to get back to?
Ironically, we feel freer, and there's a structure. The more players, and you would know this, the more players you put into a song, the more room you've got to make for the others to have their sound, right? Whereas in this environment, Norm is the key. Norm Norm plays all the melodic. It gives me room to change up the melody slightly, so I can reach different places, knowing I'm not going to tread on a block harmony that we might have already constructed for that area. And Darren just holds down, like he's always done for 30 years. He holds down that groove and beat without overplaying it. But there are moments when he can also shine in it. So not vulnerable at all. In fact, it's just great. It's literally like, and we try and do as many of them. I don't know if we can do this at the Brass, but we do as many of them in the round as we can. So, and even if this one's not in the round, the tables are so close that it feels like there's 150 friends in your lounge room, after a Christmas Day luncheon, and everyone's, enjoying a party together that, is quite rare and quite unique. And I guess we are different to many other bands that perhaps you'll have at that venue and others where, they like to quietly play their songs as written. We really do mix it up on the night. And if, like, there was a girl last night that just wanted to sit on the drums stool during one of the songs. So Darren just went and sat in her chair, and she didn't play, of course, but she actually listened to the song from the point of view of the drum stool. And it was just, like she was in tears just how special that was for her as a 30-plus year Fish fan.
That's an interesting thing you mentioned, that 30-plus year. Is that something you feel, seeing your career now still going strong, that the audiences have changed a bit? We're so obsessed with this thing in our hands, and younger people taking Instagram moments and so on. But I truly think that musicians themselves, if they create that experience like you gave to that girl last night, that's the memorable thing. Yes, they'll take a photo, but they're never going to lose that memory and so on. Is that what you're feeling, where iconic bands such as yourself and Chisel and these bands that have been around for quite a while, especially here in Australia, where we like that interaction? Is that something you feel that we're missing, or is really important in the current music industry?
Well, what a magic question. It is. And I think, being able to mix up a show like this, when you're at a huge festival or a big theatre show, that's now become the norm of just filming those little moments. But when you can, I'll give another good example. So when you were playing the show last night that we did, of course, you can't play every song. So this girl comes up to me, she goes, "I loved it. I just wish you would have done this song called Thunder in My Heart." And she's in the merch line. I gathered 20 people around, and I did it a cappella in the merch line post show. Now, you just don't get those moments.
No.
And I can't describe what it was like, but for that 20 people just then, that was something they'll never get ever
Yeah.
again. And there wasn't a mobile in sight. They were just literally in a huddle getting that song that I'd missed out of the set. And I just think there are so many of those moments within
Yeah.
the course of a show. And yeah, we do often get hung up on that device, and albeit that some people still use it in this environment because it is like a lounge room. Everyone really gets their piece of the cake, and that's the
Yeah.
only way I can describe it. Everyone gets a special moment of the night, and I'm literally touching people as we go around,
Yeah.
and that doesn't happen. And I just think that's the beauty of a show like this.
Because we can't reach out through that phone. Yes, we can capture that memory. We can stop time almost, but we can't reach out. And I think that's what you're losing. And if it means this much to you, it means
Yeah,
100 times to those punters in the crowd. And they're going to go to work on Monday. Hey, what'd you do? Oh, I watched Netflix. No, what'd you do? I went and saw Chocolate Starfish. And they did this amazing a cappella. And all of a sudden, you've got another 40, 50, 100 people come to that next gig. So
yeah,
I
and
think
we
you're
do
really in
a
touch with
couple.
your audience there.
Oh, mate, exactly. And we do in this context, we like to throw 2 or 3 covers in. And back when we started back in the 90s, because we're always a bit different, we did these sort of rock and roll versions of show tunes. So not like a theatre singer would sing Life is a Cabaret, or If I Was a Rich Man, or I Did It My Way, for example. But so we sort of mix it up. So um, in the course of, we do a couple of those, and in the course of that song, because it's so fun, I'm sitting on blokes' knees, or I'm dancing with a 68-year-old lady, or just magic happens. And if you think it's going to be like anything you've ever seen us do before, brace yourself, because it's going to be completely unique, and you'll go, my God, I love that just as much as I love seeing them do the Bat Out of Hell show, or seeing
Yeah.
them do, the rock shows.
That's a sign of a good song, isn't it? That it can be translated into several genres. This guy, Tommy Johansson, he's a Swedish guy. He's online a lot. And he does thrash metal version of ABBA songs,
Yeah.
or other songs. And he's covered a few Steinman songs from the Bat Out of Hell era and the Celine Dion
Yeah.
versions. But he does these, and like songs like Does Your Mama Know? And so work as a thrash Swedish metal song, And
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
the strength of the song. But talking about songs, are there songs that you're performing in this Raw Fish show that you think sound better than the original version or the
Oh,
electrified version?
mate, again, and I hope some of the viewers and listeners of the podcast will have a look at this. So we've recorded a 5-track EP as a bit of a precursor to this tour. And there's a song that we wrote in 2015, so 10 years ago. It's called Bullets. And it's basically, talking about when we're enjoying a night like we will be at the Brass Monkey, and we're celebrating and drinking beautiful wine and beer, and having great meals. In at least 5 countries around the world, there's either genocide or there's a major war going on, where people are suffering completely, in abysmal circumstances. And the whole song is just as relevant 10 years on now. And we've redone it almost like Everybody Hurts by REM, right? So it's a very, we've put a 3/4 beat to it, but it talks about, we live our life. And one of the lyrics in the song is, we're so connected, more alone. Our friends are people we don't know.
Mm.
We like to show we care, while others dance with bullets in the air.
And that
It's not
interpretation of
lost on
bullets,
anyone.
sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I was saying, like, that interpretation of bullets can take so many meanings. I think we look at these wars and so on going, but I think we have to look at locally the wars that are here. I mean, I often like to talk about and take a moment on my podcast to get people's insights, especially you've only been doing this for quite a while and survived. But
Yep.
mental health, especially for our young musicians and so on, is such an important thing, isn't it? That they need to manage that mental health right from the very first stages of their career. And you guys took off when Your Surveying came out. Is that
Mm.
something you learned to manage and share and mentor other musicians in?
Yeah, look, absolutely. In fact, we do a version of Got to Get My Head Right, which
Mm.
again is a song that I, even when I wrote it back in, geez, 93, it was almost like a semi-rap spewing of content.
Yeah.
And if I look back on it now as a person who's been challenged by mental health and now understands what it is and has many tools to deal with it, um, it was very much a cry for help. And there's all these lines about how I was struggling, and I didn't even realize I was just, I was 25, but mental health was always with me. And similarly, another song off the Spider album called Bad Dog, and it's all
Mm.
about bullying and how and there's so many even today. I mean, I look at, and I hope I'm, probably going to alienate half our audience here, but I look at Donald Trump as being the ultimate bully in the world at the
Oh, very
moment.
much so.
And this whole, I refer to them as the bad dogs, and we have to find ways of combating the bad dog out there, and
Mm.
they're out there trying to take you down. And yeah, so I do a lot of work. I've got I've got my own charity called Music Karma that I work with Indigenous and Indian communities around themes like mental health, and I'm also an ambassador for the Tough Minds group as well. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, it's always on my radar. And if I look at young people, even someone like Amel and the Sniffers right now, who are
Mm.
braining it worldwide. I know that's not going to be forever, and I just hope that Amy and the crew have at least people in their corner,
Mm.
or they have an awareness of that, because when they're not at the top of the pile, they're going to need to understand how to manage
Yeah.
those highs and lows. And I didn't
Yeah.
have that, and now I do.
Because when it comes like a tidal wave, and even the kids like on The Voice and so on, or the art, I should say the artists on
Mm.
The Voice and those shows, they'd be fantastic on the show, but then you go online and the people just cut them to shreds, and I worry about them. I hope the producers or networks and so on are providing that mental health. Man, we have Are
Yeah,
You
look,
OK? Day, but we need foundations
yeah,
like yours to help, don't we?
I don't believe, they may have a modicum of it, but it's also the same in top level sport. Once you leave a major NRL club and you become delisted, you're pretty much on your own. And,
Yeah.
y- the ongoing support isn't really there, and it wanes pretty quickly. So, um, you've got to be resilient enough to at least seek those avenues before it gets, like you said, before it gets as bad as it can be. For me,
Yeah.
it hit like that tidal wave as well. I was flying, thought everything was great, and I'd done a little bit of work on it, but there was this one night, and this is how it happened for me. One night, I just couldn't sleep. I had something on the next day, and I just didn't sleep at all. So the next day, I didn't have tools, so I downed 3 Red Bulls and thought I was going to be fine to get through the day. And then the next night, I had a major panic attack because I couldn't
Mm.
sleep again. And then all of a sudden, that became a thing that I had to. I'm never going to sleep again. Or how am I going to sleep?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, exactly.
one of my triggers. Then sleep was a big one. But for many others, it's drugs and alcohol. For
Yeah.
others, it's it is that manifestation of bullying online. There's many ways that it can come at you, um, and you've just got to build up that
Yeah.
social network and personal tools.
You mentioned Matter of Hell before, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but I toured with Meatloaf a few times,
Oh,
and,
really?
when that whole AFL thing happened, people don't know, he was sick as a dog that day.
I
He had
know.
vertigo, he had the in-ear monitors, which he didn't request, and then that just went through the vertigo, and he was absolutely so sick, and, like, he was in tears when all the media attacked him.
Mm,
He said to me in Sydney, he says, "I'm not coming back ever again. I just can't handle the embarrassment of what he took," and he said, "I'll never come back to Australia ever again." It's such a
yep.
sad tale because, as you know, Battle of Hell was for a very long time the highest selling album in Australian history and had a great
Mm,
relationship here, but the media just still to this day, every time the AFL comes up, couldn't be as bad as Meatloaf, couldn't be as bad as Meatloaf even. People only knew Meatloaf had a massive personality, but a massive anxiety problem chasing that perfect show for 40 years.
yep.
And, yeah, we need to pause and think about the person behind the stage once they get off stage.
Yeah. And
Very hard.
if and you are so right, Adam. And if you look at it, unfortunately, media has now become I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but almost like a trivia. Let's see what clickbait we can put up, and
Mm,
even our major news services are all about poking the bear to get everyone to go, yeah, see, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it,
yes.
right? And whatever it is, and these human souls who are doing their absolute best. I like you. I met Meatloaf 3 or 4 times. We're
Mm.
on the same label, and he was a very beautiful man,
Oh,
very beautiful man
so
with a great
genuine.
soul. In fact, I've got a great story that I often tell at the concerts. And we were on the same label in '95, and I got invited to go and see him in Melbourne at Rod Laver.
Hmm.
And I was backstage, and his band, and I was just talking to him at the time. And his band pulled everyone together to sing happy birthday to him. And I'm literally with my arm around Meat. So I'm the closest person to him on his 50th birthday.
Yeah.
And as a young lad who bought that album as his first album, again, the universe throws wonderful moments at you to celebrate. But like you, I know what a great person he was. And I just think the world has to understand we are human. We're fallible.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and we make mistakes, and sometimes the mistakes are ours, sometimes they're not. And to denigrate a person to the lowest point to make them that feel that bad is I think pretty bad. So
Yeah.
young
I
crew,
like in the
listen.
media too, that scene in The Life of Brian with Monty Python, the stoning. The person's in the middle and they're just getting stoned by everyone, and that's a very thing. But I want to come back to the Raw Fish show. Looking ahead, do you see this as a one-off experiment or the start of a new chapter? I mean, I was thinking along the lines of you could keep this theme going. You could have Raw Fish, you could have Catfish would be your cover songs. You could have Batfish doing the Bat of the Hell stuff and so on.
Should
There's
get
a
you
whole raft of different things. I
John
stopped at that
Martin
point,
to remote for the future. You've got it down.
but do you see,
Look,
is it a
yeah,
new chapter for Chocolate Starfish, or is it just another chapter?
I think it's another chapter. So if you look at it, well, there's 2 reasons why we decided to do it as a 3-piece. One, after the Bat Out of Hell tour, Johnny, our bass player, he's got a big life, and so he wanted a bit of a break, and we thought that's okay. And same as Zach, our guitarist, but also having them come into it, like I said before, would completely change the dynamic. We'd have to do bigger shows. They'd have to be big theatre shows again, and it would almost lose the intimacy of what this incarnation's about. What I'd like to do with the Raw Fish style is integrate those boys back again, but have that as a little bit like U2 and other bands do, and Coldplay and others, and they do almost a 30-minute up the front, intimate version of a few of
Yeah.
their songs
Yep.
in between everything else. And that's what I think going forward I'd like to do with whatever show we're doing is integrate the beauty of how awesome that can be, make it fresh, loose, and have all 5 of us do that. And then before and after that is the rock, the way we do that kind of really well too. So, but you've planted some seeds even saying things like Batfish and, and I like where you're coming from. And
Just thought one more. Kingfish. Chocolate Starfish does
Kingfish.
Elvis.
My God. Okay,
It'll be
we
kismet.
need to have an afternoon over a glass of red, mate, and we'll
I think so.
brainstorm a sheet of paper.
I think so. It's called 45 years of listening to Jim Steinman songs and having that creativity going through. So it's all good, mate. Last question. I always like to close on this, and thank you so much for your time today. When the lights go down, whether it be the Brass Monkey on November 15th or any venue, and the crowd's right there in front of you, walk out, you're in the moment. What's it like to be Adam Thompson on stage?
Interesting question. It usually takes me a few hours to prepare for that moment, because I guess like an elite sportsman, I always want to hit the stage completely ready, and completely ready means coming up the night before and getting a good night's sleep. Now with that mental health stuff, it means being mentally ready for it. Do a meditation before. I try and visualize some of what the crowd might look like, feel like. So I've got some of those scenarios kind of already potentially in my head. But the overarching thing that I try and bring now, this is only fairly recent, and since we've got back together as a concern 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and this is due to my beautiful wife. I always looked at it as a challenge to go on the stage, challenge to be the best, a challenge to win over new fans. But now I've flipped that, and my wife said to me, you just go out there and have the best time, the most joyful time you can. And if you do that, they will have the best time ever.
Yeah.
And I've flipped the way I walk on stage now and approach it. I just walk out there going, I'm going to have the best time tonight, right? Yeah. And it automatically, and I don't know how long since you've seen us, Ed, but this last, we've changed.
I just saw the batch shows, the last batch shows.
Oh, you saw the batch shows. Okay. Yeah. So there's an intensity still, but there's an absolute joy, and there's a connection to the audience that I never had back in the 90s. I had the aura of what you feel a rock star should be, and I guess I mentally created that with the ponytail and all that sort of stuff about what I felt I should appear like. Now it comes from a different place. It comes from a higher place. And that is joy. That's just flowing my energy through to others, and that just comes from joy and love. And I thank my beautiful wife for sharing that, because she's one of the tools that I've got now to be the best version of Adam Thompson today that I can be.
I think it's a thing I think musicians get to when they hit a certain age, and an audience like myself get to a certain age. It's what we call gratitude era. It's a real gratitude. We've got a gratitude to the audience to be there, and us as fans, we've got a gratitude we can still go and see you, whether it be at the State, or whether it be at the Brass Monkey or Carrying Bar, wherever it might be. So I really think the gratitude we get to share as an audience with our people we grew up with and people we get to share and continue to enjoy, because again, it's we've got enough other things going on in the world. Let's spare some time on a Saturday night to have a few drinks and break some songs down. But look, Adam Thompson.
And you remember, before we finish, you would remember at the Bat Out of Hell show, before I introduce Heaven Can Wait, and I talk about losing my mum and my sister when I was a teenager. And I look at that too as, I know it's a really interesting thing to say, but I look at that as almost a universal gift. As sad as it was, I look at the strength that I now have to still be here. And the strength and I always look at my mantra in life now is just to lift everyone higher, whether it's the 20 in the merch line last night, or the big crowd at a big festival like the Bashes. I look at that's my role, and because I'm still alive and I'm still here, able to do my best, that's just what I try and impart to everyone else and encourage them to lift each other higher.
Yeah, well, music's made some massive changes in my life, and especially recently, and I'm eternally grateful and faithful that it's just going to continue. So I think we all are on the same page. But we're all going to get to share raw fish, chocolate starfish stripped right back Saturday night, 15th of November, down at the Brass Monkey in Cronulla. Adam Thompson, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. I've seen the career evolve, and I was there at the start, and I'm there now on the bat side of things. And raw fish, we're going to talk offline about a few other concepts, I'm sure, but it's happening this Saturday night, November 15th, an unforgettable night of raw rhythm, stripped back power, and pure rock soul. And everyone listening out there, let's pack the place out. Don't miss your chance to see one of Australia's most iconic voices and bands in a very intimate setting. As always, if you've enjoyed the episode, make sure to like, share, subscribe. Adam, where can people find Chocolate Starfish online?
Just find us on the website, chocolatestarfish.com.au, or Chocolate Starfish Band is on Facebook and Insta.
We'll put those links into the show, as well as links to the tickets for Saturday night. So if you'd like to hear today, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the Brass Monkey podcast for more great conversations with the legends and the artists that you love, and we get to share on the fantastic stage at the Brass Monkey in Cronulla. Thanks for tuning in. Adam, we'll see you at the show.
See you there, Ads. Namaste.